Hi everyone, I'm DJ Kearney and I am here in Summerland, British Columbia in the heart of the Okanagan Valley at Okanagan Crush Pad Winery. I've spent the last many decades training sommeliers, teaching about wine, traveling the world, eating, drinking, experiencing a lot of great things in wine. That helps me identify this place, the Okanagan Valley, and this winery in particular, as being a very, very special place for wine. We are going to taste this collection. It's called Big Reds for Winter. They're the kind of wines that you want to drink in the colder weather, cozy up beside the fire, sit in your favorite chair, chat with friends, maybe over these wines and about these wines. We're going to taste a Cabernet Sauvignon from Freeform, a Malbec in the Narrative series, a Syrah, possibly the best grape of the red kind in the Okanagan Valley, and then a smackdown between the two Cabernets in Narrative's nonfiction. Let's get started with Freeform Cabernet Sauvignon. All right, first in the Big Reds for Winter is Freeform Cabernet Sauvignon from the 2018 vintage. The Freeform tier is all about the lowest intervention, so just relying on impeccably farmed fruit. There's not a lot of oak use. It's all about featuring what the vineyard can offer. This wine comes from the South Okanagan, a beautiful organic vineyard of Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's crack the screw cap, a great way to seal wine, and pour ourselves a pint. Now, Cabernet Sauvignon, King Cab, it is the most noble and most aristocratic of all of the red grapes. It's also big in body and big in tannins. So let's smell it first and then we'll talk about taste and tannins. The signature aroma for Cabernet Sauvignon is blackcurrant, what the French call cassis, and that is all over the nose of this wine. Beautiful dark berries. There's a lovely spiciness to the fruit. There's a little herbal note that's very appropriate for Cabernet, especially from the Okanagan. I'm gonna dive in and have a taste. I'm spitting because that's what wine experts do. Don't you dare spit at home. I want you to savor the wine. So sip it and think, oh, so juicy. It's dry and it has wonderful concentrated fruit, more of those blackberry flavors. Tannins are what give red wines nice structure and a little bit of that mouth drying sensation. The tannins are found in the skins of grapes and in the stalks as well. And this is fairly grippy. So that means it's going to be a nice wine to have with food. It's a little bit of a chocolatey flavor with a touch of coffee that you get. I'm gonna have one more quick sip. There's a warmth and a generosity to this wine, and that's because the grapes come from the warmest part of the Okanagan Valley, right down in the south. In terms of winemaking, it's made a little bit in the stainless steel vats, and then it ages in the concrete vessels for almost a year. That's when it gains texture and a glossy, plush finish to the wine. This is absolutely built for food, anything of the beef variety. So it could be a steak, it could be a pot roast, it could be something that you've braised all day on Sunday, getting ready to have this wine. The label is special as well. All of Freeform's wines have a stone label. It's not paper, this is finely ground and then rolled stone. It's totally cutting edge. It saves water, saves trees, and it really embodies what Freeform is all about. Less is more. So we are going to follow this Cabernet Sauvignon with some Malbec, part of the Narrative series. Okay, I'm so excited for the narrative Malbec. This is one of the best grapes in the Okanagan Valley, but it usually gets hidden into blends with Cabernet and Merlot, so it's so nice to have one featured on its own. This Malbec comes from the South Okanagan. It's the warmest part of the Okanagan Valley, and that means that we're going to have a lot of powerful, expressive, forward fruit. You don't want to spill this on your white disco pants. It's really deeply pigmented. It's a lovely crimson color. Oh, so the beauty about Malbec is it's floral and unbelievably fruity. It has red, black, and blue fruit, and I can smell all of that on the nose. Blueberry, blackcurrant, and raspberry. Malbec is a French grape. Its home is Bordeaux, where Cabernet likes to grow. But the one country that has really run away with Malbec is, of course, Argentina. So this is a little bit like the Argentine wines in that it's a fruit bomb, but it has BC's streamlined purity to it. Smell is fantastic. Make sure you smell your wine, swirl them, and really smell deeply. Part of the pleasure is in the smelling. Oops, forgot to spit. Wow, there's a lot of wine in this mouthful. So all of those flavors, and I know that you will find the raspberry, the blueberry, and the blackcurrant when you taste it. It's unmistakable. Bright, juicy, but there's a warmth and a spiciness. Now, Matt Dumaine, the winemaker here, has used a clay amphora. This is a special vessel. It's how ancient wine was made. It doesn't add anything to the wine, but it just allows this beautiful Malbec to express itself in a neutral but super, super cool vessel. Pairing-wise, it doesn't need food. It's so complete, so you can enjoy a glass by the fire, or you can put it to work with anything. This can handle spice, so if you want to do a chili or pour on a little bit of spicy heat, this is the wine for that. We're gonna follow up this Malbec with a Syrah, also part of the narrative series. I've just poured myself a nice glass of Narrative Syrah 2016. In my opinion, Syrah is one of the best grapes in the Okanagan Valley. There's a style that is emerging that is unlike anything else in the world. Syrah is a French grape. Its homeland is the Northern Rhone Valley, but it also makes really good wines in Australia. And you've probably had some Aussie Shiraz before. So what we're going to find in this, by the way, this is organically grown. This is from the South Okanagan, the warmer part, and that's where bigger red wines come from. All that generous fruit. Oh, so this absolutely nails Syrah. This grape is all about dark, brambly, juicy black fruit. On the nose, there's something completely unmistakable about Syrah, and that is a meatiness. There's a smoky, meaty, peppery smell that goes along with all of that wonderful, bright and vivid fruit. It's full of flavor, full of richness. There's a lovely softness and plumpness to the fruit because of that warmer vineyard area. But then comes this charge of acidity. It's really bright, really, really succulent. And it's just what you want to have with a winter barbecue, perhaps, a roast beef. Maybe you're just gonna toss something in the slow cooker, make a nice pot roast. It's super, super adaptable with food. And it is one of the best grapes from the Okanagan Valley, and narrative says it beautifully. So let's leave this silky, spicy Syrah, and we're going to try a wine called Nonfiction from the Narrative series. So we're going to wind up our Big Reds for Winter collection with Narratives Nonfiction. It's from the 2017 vintage, and I call this wine the Father and Son Reunion. The reason for that is it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. Cabernet Franc is one of the parents of Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's a nice little smackdown between two grapes that are very closely related. You can see the dark color. These grapes have thin skins, and those skins allow the color pigments to be stored, and they make for a very, very dark colored wine. Oh. The nose is the best of both of them. We get the blackcurrant of Cabernet Sauvignon, and we get blackberries, juicy, dark fruit with something a little floral and a little bit leafy. That's the signature of Cabernet Franc. So the two together combine and mesh absolutely beautifully, and I can smell them both very, very clearly on the nose of this wine. Let's have a little taste, see if it lives up to the enticing aromas. Yes, the answer is yes. I can taste them both. This wine is definitely the full-bodied one in the pack. It has massive, massive flavor. You're also going to taste the tannins. So this is a wonderful clinic in that drying, structural feel that tannins can give you. This wine is made in concrete, and that is one of the secret strengths of OCP and the Narrative series. It doesn't need oak. There's nowhere to hide when you are not using an oak barrel, which can add a lot of makeup to wine. You get the purity of fruit, you get the competence and the brilliance of the farming, and you get the grapes expressing themselves very, very clearly when you use a vessel like concrete. It's a fabulous food wine, and this is one I absolutely would want to have with something. It deserves your best efforts in the kitchen, perhaps a nice steak. It really needs full-bodied, robust flavors. It's a big, big wine. Narrative, nonfiction. It's big, it's bold, there's lots to talk about in this wine, and it's absolutely built for food. Have fun with it. Big, rich red wines. So this collection, Big Reds for Winter, is exactly what we want. When the weather's a little cooler, when we want to entertain, we have everything from Cabernet, Malbec, Syrah, and a Cabernet blend. They're all grown in the South Okanagan, and that adds a generosity and a warmth to these wines. Have fun with them, put them to work with food, share them with your friends and family. They're big, they're rich, they're red. If you like these wines, or you want to see what else OCP has to offer, log on to OkanaganCrushPad.com. There are other collections for you to view. You might consider joining the Winemakers Club. You get discounts and special perks, and you can book your trip in the summer right here to Summerland to OCP. I'm DJ Kearney, and thanks so much for tasting along with me. I hope you've enjoyed these wines as much as I have.